If we only ever look at the composite score, we are potentially missing areas of strength within a profile. My name's Sally Ann. I've been an SpLD assessor for over 25 years. Subscribe to my channel and be the best assessor that you can be. I saw this quote on Facebook the other day from Dr. Kelly Sandman Haley from the Dyslexia Training Institute in America. And she said, dyslexia often hides in the subtests. And it got me thinking, and it really resonated because I thought, you're absolutely right. It does. And that really matches with one of our methodologies that we have inside Praxis CPD. And that methodology is our eyes wide open approach. So there's more to it than just this element, but I thought, let's talk about this eyes wide open approach that we adopt and we nurture in the people that train with us and undertake our CPD. So the SpLD Assessment Standards Committee in the 2025 report format says this about composite scores. It's in the additional guidance number 91, and it says that actually composite scores can reduce errors. Okay, so they give us a lower risk of false positives because they're bringing together different elements that go into an area. They also look for closely related measures, and if the composite is made up of those closely related measures, then they are more reliable because they combine strongly related areas that build a concept. They can help provide a simplified profile. They can give a clearer picture of strengths and weaknesses. And I'm really, if you're going to do a bar chart in your appendices, I'm a big fan of keeping it to composites wherever possible because it simplifies things and it helps the individual understand, unless there are reasons not to do that. And what we're going to talk about may well be reasons where you might want to consider that. Composites can lead to a loss of detail. Some information from individual subtests gets lost, so it's useful to report both individual scores and the composite score. So yes, we have a composite score, but do talk about the subtests that go into that composite score, and how composite scores are calculated matters. And there are different ways of making them happen through averaging, weighting, or factor analysis. There's statistical methodology that is behind them. And each method has an impact on how the composite actually displays. So that's what SASC has got to say about composite scores. Why are we interested in composite scores? It's this bit that links to our eyes wide open approach and links to the Dyslexia Institute's meme that I saw the other day, where I thought, yes, that is exactly it. Dyslexia can hide in the subtests, and this is one of the areas that I think they're talking about. So if we consider composite scores as showing us the destination, that's the end result. That's where we ended up when we finished the testing, that's where we ended up. That's our final destination. However, if we look at the subtests, they can tell us about the journey and how we reached that final destination. And sometimes it is the final destination is not quite as important as how we got there, because those subtests are the bits that really tell the story of what's happening for that individual. So, for example, let's say we've got a measure of reading efficiency and we get a composite score that's mid-average, and that composite score is derived from a mid-average score for reading nonsense word and a mid-average score for sight word reading. So those two things combined, mid-average and mid-average, lead us to an overall mid-average score. That makes sense. So in that context, the composite score really is telling the story. There is nothing huge that's happened in that journey along the way to reach that composite score. It's as you would expect, mid-average and mid-average, and it's led to mid-average. However, as I'm sure you will have seen many times in your assessing, sometimes that mid-average score that we reach at the end is made up of one score that's quite a bit lower than the other. Now, for some tests, we can use statistical analysis to tell us whether that's a statistically significant difference. And for others, we're looking more towards this notable difference as to whether or not the confidence intervals overlap and to see if that's going to be helpful. But it kind of masks what's going on. If we only look at this mid-average score that we've come to at the end, it's not going to tell the story of the fact that this person was really struggling with reading nonsense words, but better when they were asked to undertake sight word reading. And so we're missing some key detail if we just go for, well, they're mid-average, but actually, well, they're pretty good at sight words, but that's a real difficulty. We're masking the strengths and challenges that have gone into that composite score. So this is all part of our eyes wide open approach. Are we getting a true picture from the way that we're gathering and analysing the information? So if we only ever look at the composite score, we are potentially missing areas of strength within a profile, and we want those areas of strength not just to preserve self-esteem, but also because they can inform ways forward where we can actually exploit those areas of strength and use them to promote that individual's abilities and help them build strategies that will build on their strengths. We're also potentially going to miss areas of challenge. Oh, they're fine with reading efficiency, they're mid-average, but are they really fine if they're having such difficulties with the phonemic decoding and the reading of nonsense words? Probably not. So they may well want to have some help with that. It may well help our diagnostic decision. It's crucial information that would potentially be missed if we only focus on the composite score. Now, in some profiles, like we saw, it might be very balanced, and so we don't get a huge amount of information that we're going to miss from those subtests because they tell the story quite easily. But sometimes we are at risk of missing really important information, and that's why we want to look beyond that composite score and look at what's going on in those individual subtests. So digging beneath the surface of the scores is not optional. It is something that we must build into every assessment that we undertake and every profile that we analyse. It's absolutely crucial that we do this, and I think that's exactly what triggered for me when I saw that quote from the Dyslexia Institute. Sometimes dyslexia hides in the subtest, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about our eyes wide open approach. So there it is. We are not going to be missing red flags if we work in this way. Sometimes the flags are very clear and they are waving very strongly at us, but we need to make sure that we have our eyes wide open and we're seeing those flags and interpreting them appropriately. So that's not the only element of our eyes wide open approach, but it's one element of it, and it's an important one. So I hope you found that of help and of interest. And if you found similar things, stick a comment below and we'll have a discussion about it. Let's see if you've noticed this kind of thing going on inside your profiles.